that dedication. Those doctors, our board of directors, all of you as volunteers and leaders at Cure JM, National Leadership Council, Grandparents Council, Advocates Council, you go about your work every day with great dedication and enormous heart. And a combination of that dedication and that heart is what will get us to the finish line. I'm in awe, frankly, of what you do, of what you have accomplished in 20 short years of this organization's history. We have moved to a time when this disease was incredibly devastating to children and to families, to a disease today that is difficult, but by and large manageable due to the progress that has been made through the funding of Cure JM. So give yourself all a round of applause for that. I know many families live day in and day out with the challenge, and I want you to know that we're behind you 100%. And if there's anything more that we can do to help you, please come talk to me about it anytime you would like to. We want to do better than we're already doing, so thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce a relatively new board member of Cure JM, Justin Whitney. Justin is from Maine. He's part of our expansion as we look at moving ourselves more and more across the country. You can't get too much more remote than Maine. He's a parent of a teenager, Abby, who is now in remission, thankfully. I think drug-free remission is on, if I think I've got that right, Justin. He's a talented business executive. He's been an enormous asset to the board of directors since he has joined. He's the chairman of our investment committee, and he's also a West Point graduate, which tells you something about his high achievements. He's going to introduce our keynote speaker tonight, so Justin Whitney, over to you.
It's actually the great state of Maine, not the state of Maine. So it's my pleasure to introduce a good friend and hero of mine, Colonel Greg Gadson. We sent out his bio, but I'm going to give you a brief rundown on Greg if you get to read that. Greg is another West Point graduate. He's a star football player, graduated from West Point and went into the military and served a very distinguished career, participating in our Gulf War conflicts with multiple tours. He's highly decorated veteran. Unfortunately, he's experienced the worst part of it. And on, I believe, May 7th of 2007, Greg's vehicle was blown up by an improvised explosive device. And Greg was severely injured, resulted in the loss of both legs and damage to his arm, permanent damage to his right arm. He's an incredible individual, and that circumstance has not defined him and who he is, and he's achieved unbelievable things in his career. After his injury, he continued to serve in the military for another 7 years, was promoted to full-grade colonel prior to retirement. So he's been very dedicated to the service of our country. He's been inspirational to many in his both in his career and after his military service. There's multiple examples, but one is the 2007 Super Bowl when the Giants beat the undefeated New England Patriots. He was asked to speak to the Giants because they were really struggling. And his words of perseverance, teamwork, leadership, all of those factors that we think about in our children and these wonderful people that are supporting us. Those were all relevant issues for the Giants. They went on to beat New England. It's the only part of this story that I really don't like because I happen to be a New England Patriots fan. But I still love him and appreciate him. He's a very active individual. He's been an actor in movies. He's in Battleship, if you've seen that movie. My favorite part when he gets out of the Jeep and he beats down on the alien and saves the world. Those are memorable moments. He's been in various other family TV shows as well. It goes on. He's a businessman currently. His partner, Kurt Gutierrez, is with him. He continues to serve the country with a business that provides services for our government. He's a writer. He's a photographer. He's an artist. He is active with bicycling, scuba diving, and various other sports. He's just living an incredibly full life, and I think he's a great example for us all. I think most importantly, he's a father, a wonderful father to two children, and his wife Kim, not the father, but the husband. And so please help me in welcoming Greg to give us a few words of
Good evening. Can you hear me well? Justin, thank you very much for the kind introduction, and thank you all for allowing me to really share a few thoughts and perspectives about my journey. First and foremost, I would like to just acknowledge everyone in here for their connection to. And I was panicking over how making sure that I only going to say it was juvenile myositis, and I'll just say JM. But your connection, whether you're fighting with it as someone who has the disease, your family, or this network and community that's here today to help you all achieve your best selves and your best lives. That's what this is about. My journey, your journey is really about making the most of this time that we have on this precious earth. We're not to be defined by what we didn't achieve or what we have to overcome, but we can be defined by our courage to be and live our best lives. I would never call your challenge a gift, but what I would tell you is that it gives you a unique lens of appreciating life, understanding life like most do not understand life. As I think about and talk about my journey as a soldier, most significantly 16 years ago, as Justin said, on 7 May of 2007, the irony of returning from a memorial service for 2 soldiers in my brigade from Fort Riley, Kansas, who had been killed by a roadside bomb just 3 days earlier. I can tell you, like yesterday, I can remember thinking about and struggling with the sacrifice of these young men and their families, wondering whether or not we were making a difference in a fight against tyranny, in a fight against the will of an enemy that wanted to turn a country upside down. Well, that's when I was hit by an improvised explosive device. The blast lifted my 15,000-pound armored vehicle off the road and ejected me from the vehicle, where I can recall vividly flying through the air and hitting the ground and coming to a rolling stop on my back. At first I was furious, but very quickly I understood that my life was in the balance. I actually said, God, I do not want to die here, and I lost consciousness. But my teammates, like your teammates, your family, your doctors, your caregivers, my teammates came to my rescue, located me, resuscitated me, put tourniquets on my legs, which saved my life. Now that evening, I would go through 129 pints of blood and die 6 times. But that's what I dealt with. That month of May of 2007, 131 U.S. service members and the families that were connected to them paid in full measures. So I'm very blessed to say that I'm here today, not for anything that I did, but I'm here today because my team saved my life. A team of dedicated individuals that would give their all so that I could have a life. I would get evacuated and land here in Washington, D.C., just 4 days after being wounded, intubated on a feeding tube, requiring surgery every other day to repair my blood vessels and clean out my wounds. I still had my legs, but 1 week after arriving here, the blood vessels in my left leg could no longer sustain blood flow, and I started to bleed to death. The next day, the same thing happened to my right leg, but this time the doctors were one step ahead, and they would pull a vein from my left bicep and put it into my right leg and save my right leg. Well, by this time, I was out of my induced coma, able to communicate with the doctors, appreciating that my left leg was gone and that my right leg was never going to work as it was intended. I made the decision for the doctors to amputate my right leg. I just wanted to get on with life. So the 24th of May, the doctors, in fact, amputated my right leg. Well, when I came out of surgery, after having my right leg amputated, I got some more good news. They had actually decided to re-x-ray my right arm and elbow before I went into surgery. So when I came out, I found out that my right arm above the elbow and the radial head of my elbow were broken. I've been in the hospital more than 3 weeks before they realized that. And of course, it would require surgery to repair them. About a week later, I would have that surgery. And unfortunately, I had some complications, which ultimately sustained some radial nerve damage, which prevented me from being able to bend my right wrist, and ulnar nerve damage, which still impacts me today with respect to full use of all the fingers on my right hand. Because of the blast injuries, my body was producing too much calcium, and my arm would lock up. So I was now functionally down to one limb. My non-dominant left arm and hand was all that I could use. Literally a month before, I could do anything that I wanted in life. And now, I could not do anything in life without help. I was 210 pounds, physically fit, and now I was down to 140 pounds, with no outlook on life. And I will tell you, I will admit to you that that's when I wanted to quit. That's when I tried to quit. One weekend, now an outpatient balled up in the corner of my bedroom. For 2 days, I cried in a pity party. That this wasn't the life that I imagined. This wasn't the life that I wanted to live. But in all those tears and all that pity, I also found out that that wasn't me. I had never quit in my life. And as bad as bleak as it looked, I could not quit now. And so I decided, I made a decision from that point on that I was going to live my life today. Because today is the only day that I can live. Holding on to the past only encumbers you. And living a day that we're not promised is futile. Let me be present. Let me be my best. And let me be at peace with living and making the most of every day that God gives me. And so I say to you all, your families, you all that are dealing with this unfair disease, that you have an opportunity not to be defined by this disease, but rather be defined by how you live your life to the fullest, how you live your best life, how you make the most of every day, the day that you're in. None of us in here can relive yesterday. And none of us in here are guaranteed to live tomorrow. Every single one of us in here has an expiration date. Every single one of us in here one day will not have a tomorrow. So our challenge is to channel our energy, to channel our focus on being present. Accepting the challenge that we have. And taking it on with courage. And being remembered and being known by how you lived your life. And not being known by what was unfair and what wasn't right or what you didn't have. Maya Angelou said, people won't remember what you did. They won't remember what you said. But they'll remember how you made them feel. And your courage to take on this life, to accept what this life has given you, and to live it to your fullest is all any of us can do. I'm here today. I'm here on the stage because of one of you. 13 or 14 years ago, I had a chance to meet Abigail Whitney. I think I met her in the airport. Her father, Justin, stopped me. And I'll never forget her. Because even back then, I could see the courage. And it inspired me. I like to believe that I'm a warrior, just like you. Our fights are different, but our spirits are the same. Please take this on and make the most of every day that our Lord gives us. God bless you all, and thank you. Hey, Greg, thank you so much. We have the wonderful swag bag for Greg here with a t-shirt, and
more importantly, a really nice bottle of tequila. So.
Thank you so much.